Yesterday, I talked about the tragic Dyatlov Pass incident where 9 experienced Soviet ski hikers lost their lives during a 200-mile trek in 1959. And I mentioned that the mystery of what happened to them was perhaps solved with help from animators of Disney's Frozen. So, how did they get involved? Well, the most commonly accepted theory of what happened to the hikers was an avalanche. They had abandoned their campsite in a hurry, and some of the hikers had internal injuries as though they had been hit by an incredible force. An avalanche has always been one of the theories, but some have argued that it doesn't make sense. Their camp wasn't by a very steep incline, and there didn't seem to be enough snow that night to increase the weight enough to cause a collapse. So, a few years ago, the head of the Swiss Avalanche Simulation Laboratory saw the film Frozen and was so intrigued by the movement of the snow in that movie that he contacted the animators about their code. The swirling, the way the snow traveled and settled, the physics of it was so accurate that it could be applied to real world scenarios. He traveled to California and met with those animators, and they provided him with the code for Matterhorn, which is a simulator that they developed for large amounts of snow interacting with characters. Materials like snow, smoke, and sand are incredibly difficult and time consuming to draw by hand. So they use what's called the material point method to blend very complicated computer algorithms with real world physics to simulate things like snow. Snow is made up of individual flakes and can behave like a fluid, and that is what really interested the laboratory. The Avalanche Simulation Lab partnered with the Zurich Federal Institute of Technology to use that software to test a hypothesis that a small, delayed avalanche hit that camp. They concluded that the most likely explanation was that the slope was indeed steep enough to be dangerous. Cutting into the ground to set up that campsite could be enough to destabilize the snow further up the slope and cause an avalanche hours after they set it up. And a small enough avalanche could leave very little evidence that it happened, but it could be strong enough to leave you with injuries as though you've been hit by a truck. What other mysteries has a movie helped solve? I bet this isn't the only one.